Charles has several standalone tanks, and this is one of them. This is on a aquarium stand here in the center of the basement. It's a 20-gallon tall tank with a glass canopy. Charles set this up as a temporary tank or quarantine tank, and also to house new plants. I suggested that he refrain from putting fauna in it, as the only fauna for a time were nerite snails. I got him to add some scuds in hopes that the Gammarus species would rid plants of algae, and he could put infested plants in here temporarily to clean them up. But subsequently he purchased true Siamese algae-eaters, and of course wants to keep them in quarantine for at least 21 days to ensure that they're not carrying any pathogens that would spread to his existing stock. And so the true Siamese have devoured the scuds, and they never really got a chance to make a dent in the algae. So I convinced Charles to use a 10-gallon, which he has behind the second fish wall, as the plant Gammarus tank. And what I want to do here is remove the plants, or most of them, probably leave the jungle Vallisneria as it grows so tall, but move the plants on to the 10-gallon, which was just fertilized. Previously it had a gravel substrate, but now it has coal slag and compost. Once it completes the nitrogen cycle, or perhaps at least has a chance to get started, we can add scuds, and hopefully they will fulfill their purpose in getting rid of the algae on the plants. After removing the majority of the plants from the 20-gallon tall tank, basically it looks okay. The true Siamese in there don't really take care of green hair algae. If they're not overfed, they might consume blackbeard algae. But once these fish complete their quarantine, they can be moved on to other tanks. And this tank, well, Charles can keep it for a quarantine tank, or add scuds, try to get rid of algae on the Vallisneria, whatever he'd like to do. Here's the 10-gallon on the table behind the second fish wall. It has a double sponge filter and a heater. It's my understanding that scuds actually reproduce fastest at about 76 degrees. I don't bother with a heater in my scud culture and plant scud tank at home. But it'll be interesting to see if they reproduce more quickly with a heated tank. It has an old style reflector light, which I think is kind of interesting. Here's a look at the 10-gallon scud culture before the addition of plants. There's some lace rock for hardscape to at least partially hide the heater and double sponge filter. Here's a look at the 10-gallon scud culture after adding plants. It was necessary to remove some of the lace rock to make room for the Mopani driftwood with Java moss attached. It's hopelessly covered in blackbeard algae, and a few scuds did make it into the tank. They might survive the nitrogen cycle, but once that is complete, I hope to add enough scuds to this tank to deal with the algae issues on plants and hardscape.